next game with Power Fritz limited to rating 1209. I analyzed my performance on the last game. The problem was at some point I just stopped this routine to analyze to analyze each candidate move. I need to try to be consistent with that. Perhaps I should spend less time thinking at the beginning of the game, just not to lose concentration near the end of the game. So I will try to do this today. I will see how it will go. So the reason I'm streaming this is mainly psychological, because I want to get better concentration of the on the moves when I feel I might be watched, and when I feel this kind of pressure because I'm streaming. So I'm just just to get the higher stake. So that's why I'm streaming this. Also, because I'm trying to improve in chess. This is just the record of my level right now, and then I will be able to compare it. If after some time I will improve, or if I will not improve. Okay, so I want to keep these time controls. 180 minutes for the first move, then 120 for next 20, and 90 to finish the game. That's a long game. I just don't want to be stressed by time in any way. So long game. Okay, 3 hours for 40 moves. Then second time control, 2 hours for 20. And then 1.5 hours to finish the game. I think that's okay. Last time I used, the problem was I used all 3 hours for 40 moves, because when you commented online, it takes longer to play. I think this is fine, because I need to feel, I don't want to feel much pressure, but I need to feel some pressure to not prolong it into infinity. So let's assume these controls are okay. Now I should play black now. Let's hope it will be like that. Program play fast. Rating 1209. Okay, and I play black, and that's good. So let's move the keyboard, the chessboard, in a way it will be visible. I have some tea here. Okay, so I start. Let's start. There is some wire here which I don't like. I prefer it to be that way. Okay, I almost always play e6, so let's start with that. Now, I think d5 is still okay. If it takes, we will have this kind of exchange. It's a bit quicker to move queen here on the queen side, but I think exchange is okay. I don't know theory. I don't know theory. So I try to deduce everything. Let's think about it for a while. What will be after exchange? I don't think moving queen, because I think the only problem would be if it will use the queen immediately. So queen a4, for example, after exchange. And am I very worried about this? Not really. I can just go bishop d7, which is to some extent aggressive, so it needs to go back. So it shouldn't really go with queen. I have a feeling this exchange is pretty playable. I probably will need to make c6 soon enough after this exchange, but I'm going to play d5. Okay, it played exchange, so let's see. And it's not moving queen first, but we need to be aware of this potential move. What if we play c5? Then it can, with c5 I will not be able to stop certain attacks on this diagonal, but I think there is no reason to. I don't need to be too quick here. In French defense, I should, in exchange variation, I probably should. Now I probably can do something on my queen side, but let me think what that should be. I think I will keep options for now and just go knight f6. Can I still react to what he will be doing? If he will go with queen on b3, let's say. What about installing itself on with this knight on e5? Am I worried about this? Am I worried about this potentially? So I should be able to play knight c6 at some point. I think it's okay to play knight c6. Then my bishop will be a bit stuck on c8. Because if white will start to do anything on queen side, on queen side with queen, I might want to support this pawn on b7 with my c8 bishop. I was thinking bishop f5. That might pressure c2, and then maybe do something with the knight, but I don't have this I always have knight a5 to stop this attack by queen from b3. Okay, let's do. So if I will do knight c6 and it will start doing some crazy things with bishop here on g5, then what? I will just go bishop, bishop e7, bishop e7, the d5 pawn is not yet attacked, so nothing is pressuring me, so that's fine. I can then still develop the knight. Okay, I think knight c6 will be okay. So okay, knight c6, what could be worse thing? Okay, such things like e4. I need to be prepared for things like e4. If I go now c6, obviously I could retake after the pawn from e4 will take, but now e4 I will just take, so it will not play it. Knight on f6 will make this e4 a bit more stronger, so I mean my control over e4, so but it's not needed now. So shouldn't be worried about e4 after knight c6. If it will play knight e5, then obviously I will exchange and I will be happy about that, so that's fine. So yeah, let's play knight c6. Okay, knight c3. So now it's a bit more pressure on d5 knight. I can play symmetrically, and then it will play probably bishop g5. And for that I will play bishop e7. But maybe I want to have something a bit more aggressive and play bishop f5. So one problem here is that this pawn on d5 might be too weak. It might be too weak without possibility of playing c6. So if I will play bishop f5, what is the best thing it can do against me? Well, queen b3 is possible. For that, knight a5, knight a5, but for that queen can check from b5, queen can check from b5, but and I need to go back with the knight, and it will take the pawn on b7. I go rook b8, queen needs to go a8. I can go back with the bishop c8. So then queen have a4. And everything is fine because I can't take the pawn on b2, so and obviously I can't, yeah, so that's not the best. Now I think I need to keep that bishop there for now. Maybe do fianchetto, but it's, yeah, I think let's do castle. Let's do castle. I think that's okay to. It's okay now to play knight f6 and then bishop e7. It might even go bishop g5. Or bishop f4 and then pressurize me on c7. But for that I will play simply a6, or I might let it in if I will calculate that that's okay. So I think what else it can do for this knight. What if after, okay, something else, bishop f5, queen b3, knight b4, and again queen check on a4. And I can't do the fork because, but but I can now defend because knight on b4 is protected. I can go c6, block the check, and probably we need to move the rook to avoid fork, because there might be no other way to avoid this fork. So I might do something to the queen and maybe make it stronger, even stronger. So wait, bishop f5, queen b3, knight b4. There is something dodgy about this move. I don't know why I have this feeling, but there is something dodgy about this. So if it will play it's not, it's just maybe it's just a refutation for queen b3. So if I move now bishop f5, maybe queen b3 is mistake. Maybe. So if that's true, bishop f5 might be okay in this position. Of course, it has queen a4 after bishop f5, but that's more benign. I think I can work with that. I think. I'm a bit tempted by this bishop f5. I don't have good feeling about this. Okay, so let's what else it can do after bishop f5? Well, it can go... No, it can't do e4 then, obviously. It can do e3 just to develop its bishop. So then I will need to start developing king's side, because I might not do castle in reasonable time. So but I think the delay will be not too big. Okay, so let's say my candidate move now is bishop f5. e3 is pretty normal move. I will play knight f6. if it will play queen a4, what's my plan? It's a bit of silly to go back with bishop on d7. So again, knight f6. Then it can go queen b5. Okay. And then what? I will go with queen to c8. Or I will just move rook to b8, and that's fine. And I will say that's fine. Yeah, it doesn't look too dangerous. Doesn't look too dangerous. And then I will chase it with a6, so that's fine. How this move can be humiliated? Bishop f5. I don't think it can be humiliated. I will just play it. I think I analyzed it enough. Just one more. Okay, assumed I'm decided, and now let's just search for white opportunities. No, I think that's okay. I'm moving it. Okay, that I calculated that. E3, so now it can move bishop b5, following with queen a4 followed. Is this anything dangerous about that? Because sometimes it might be. I can play a6 if I'm too worried about this, but I'm also worried about not having my king side developed. So let's assume I will naively play knight f6. It plays bishop b5. That's not too dangerous, just as it is. I'm only worried what will be next after queen a4, but I can go if I will do this, I can't go knight e7, but to go knight e7 I should first develop my bishop. So maybe I should go now bishop b4 and just keep this possibility to land my knight on a7. In case it will try to do something crazy on queen's side. And remember, bishop on f5 is unprotected. because if it will play, I play bishop b4, and if it will play bishop b5, I'm just playing a6. If it will play a3 for my bishop b4, I wonder. Don't want to take a knight. Don't want to open this b file for the rook. No. I can keep the pin, but then obviously it can develop that pawns. I don't want to develop that pawns. And I will need to land finally on a7 if needed. So I will be on that diagonal, which might be not the worst thing, because it will eventually move e4, e3. No, I don't want it, because eventually it can have pawn on b5, and I will need to go away with knight. No, I don't want this. What about bishop d6? Bishop d6 is not the worst thing in the world. Or even bishop e7. No, because I want to keep e7. That was my plan, to keep e7 for the knight, just in case. So if I want to play like that, I need to put my bishop on d6. So bishop d6, bishop b5, a6, that should be okay. Can't go e4, but it can, yeah, and it can't play now bishop d3. I mean, it can, but I wonder if I want to exchange or just go back on on g6. That will make e4 possible. Don't want to, yeah, so I might want this knight g6. But knight f6, and then it plays bishop b5, and then I play f6. If it will exchange, I might be able to do something with that B file open. I'm not too. I won't be too worried about this B file open. So I think that's still playable. Yeah, so I'm going to play knight f6. An immediate threat. What I had after queen b3, rook b8, right? And that should be okay. Maybe. Okay, so the plan is a6, because or something smart. Knight d7. Knight d7 with potential to b6, and then that will not allow it to. No, because that's no, or yes, no, because there will be check after bishop takes on c6. So I think a6. The worry is the pawn on, after this exchange, the pawn on c6 will be hanging. And what I will use to protect it? Queen. It's only queen. It's a bit weak. Should I go back with the bishop to d7? It will be a bit admitting to the failure. I probably was too optimistic about this bishop takes on c6. Well, that pawn on c6 will be not immediately attacked by anything. It can be attacked by queen or rook. Can defend with queen. Wonder what if I move queen d6 now. It's Well, in the worst case scenario, I can always admit to my mistake and go back bishop d7. By the way, that's another way to be able to defend c6. They can also go c5 and exchange. Okay, I'm not afraid of this. So a6. Now let's think about if it will exchange, then this c6, which I have so much doubts, but probably I'm fine. I don't know. I'm just trying to do this practice for me to keep thinking about candidates' moves, and streaming helps me. Streaming helps me to not make moves too quickly. So I'm just working on this because my problem is that I do moves too quickly and I don't think about consequences sometimes. So I'm just trying to work on that with streaming. So yeah, streaming is kind of used. Streaming is kind of used for that. I don't think it's much sense of answering questions, because I think they ask the question and they're gone. I don't want to be too much engaged in discussion now, because I'm just trying to practice. So e6, e6, a6, a6. It takes. I take on b6, and I think I will. Okay, so what if queen a4 follows? That's kind of destroying the whole idea of winning the b file, because then I need to protect the knight somehow or move it. No, I can't move the pawn, so I can queen d6, queen d6, and then can it chase my queen from d6? No, I don't want, because that's I need to think myself on this. That's part of my training. I don't like this a6 any longer. Maybe going back bishop d7 and admitting failure. Do I have? But okay. What about after this queen? Queen a4, queen d6, and then what it can do? Not much. Not much. It can go knight. Knight e5. That's nasty. No, that may be nasty move. Yeah, knight e5, and it will double attack this pawn on c6. So, oh God, is this really that I will not be able to defend this pawn on c6 after exchange? Is this possible in this position? Yeah, this knight e5. Ah. Knight d7 now. Then this exchange is slightly better, but no, I can't. I can't easily defend. Only going with knight b8, which that will be funny. That will be funny. Knight d7 and b8. It shouldn't be. Have I already did something wrong? It shouldn't be so bad at this position. Maybe this a6 is alright, and I'm just miscalculating it. Well, no, I can't push it to c5 after queen a4. So if I will keep it like that, what about queen d7? That will be like knight will be double pinned. It will never leave c6. It will never leave c6. After game I will analyze this position, because I have a feeling I'm calculating rubbish. I have this feeling. So queen d7, queen d7, queen a queen d7 and queen a4, and then a6, and then it takes. I take with the queen. It takes with the queen. Now I double pawns, but it does not have a queen, so it can't do much against me. So the really important thing is, if I decide on queen d7, that it will not be able to attack my queen with anything, but it can obviously with knight e5. it can with knight e5. So queen d7 is wrong. Queen d7 is wrong. So queen d6. And then again it has this knight e5. It leaves me with really this knight e5 is something that I haven't predicted, haven't calculated. So that probably leaves me with no option but knight d7. But if it would do, Jesus Christ, if I will do knight d7, I can defend it with knight b8. It will be so massively underdeveloped. But this is how you end up when you don't do any openings theory. Bishop d6. Bishop d6 can still protect me from this knight. And then I will play queen d7 for queen a4. But bishop protects me against knight e5. What else can happen to this bishop? Nothing. So I think bishop d6, and that's already opening the king for castle. So yeah, I think that's the move. So bishop d6, and let's think what it can do. If it will exchange and play queen a4, after that I play queen d7, and then it can't very fast attack it with anything else. Oh, it needs to move the bishop from c1 and move rook to c, but then I still have my bishop on d6 and I go forward to c5, so I think I'm fine. And bishop d6 has this additional benefit that it is developing my king side. So let's play bishop d6. So this is exactly what I was worried, but now I'm not too worried about it. And after exchange, I will finally play this knight d7, because this pawn will be attacking me. So but after I will do this, I don't know, maybe I will go completely somewhere else, like knight e4. Ah, no, no, oh god. Oh no, 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 that's fine, because queen will still protect. Queen will still protect my d5. Queen will still protect my d5. Even after some taking on c6. Let's take it. Okay, and now let's think where to go. d7 or e4. e4. If it takes with the knight, I take with the bishop, and I'm happy about it. If it goes further, e6, I will just take from f e6, and queen might go check a 8-5, but I can play g6, so that's fine. I can even go back with bishop, so that's fine, nothing too dangerous. After exchange, bishop takes knight on c6. I know what I've done wrong. I lost the pawn on d5. Maybe yes or maybe not. Now it's only defended by queen, and yeah, and it's attacked by queen and knight. What if I push? What if I push d4? It will take, I will take, and it will take on g7, and I take the queen. Now, if I take the queen, it needs to move to king. I can check. Then I will win that pawn back. But if it will just take d4, Have to get the best play after this. Even if I'm losing the pawn. And I will have still chance to get back this pawn on e5. What about knight g4? It will take. If it will take with the knight, I can take with the knight on e5. If it will chase me away, I take already. If it will take with the queen, I'm retaking the queen. It takes with the... I know what. It takes with the knight. And I have problem with defending c7. So let's say I defend c7 with the rook c8, and then it has opportunity to defend the pawn by playing f4, and I can't even take e3. Because there is bishop on c1. But here is a crazy thought. Let's go knight d7. If it takes with the knight, I'm still good to take knight e5, but if it takes with the queen, that's another story. If it takes with the queen, I will try to chase away queen with the bishop on e6. Then it can go no, then I will simply try to chase away its bishop. And I have, and because I double attack the pawn, I might be able to win it. Okay, let's go. Knight d7. What else can happen after knight d7? If bishop takes, but if bishop takes, then I take on c6 and I'm defending d5. Okay, nothing else, I think. Here are some attacks with potential of bishop going to c4. So, okay. The thing I'm worried the most is... Okay, let's calculate two things. So, knight d7, knight takes on d5, knight takes on e5. And I think I'm not so bad. Knight then can stay there. Can go with queen to a4 still. But then my knight on e... Well, it can immediately go f4 to chase my knight. But then I can go knight d3 check. Now, to exchange, it can exchange. If it will move the king, I will stay. No, it needs to take. No, it's wrong, because then it will take with the bishop. I take with the bishop. It takes with the queen, and the knight on this 5 is defended now by queen. So so then I will go. So what if I will go just knight g6? Can take, I think. Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay. So now let's think if there's viable option. I'm happy it didn't take with the queen. If I will take on e5, knight takes e5, then where it can go with the knight? Can't go c7, because then I will just take the knight. It can... I know what it will do. It will check me. It can check me. No, but then it's losing the knight. I will have horrible pawn structure, but it will not sacrifice the knight just for having that terrible pawn structure. So I think I'm fine. It will stay with the knight there, and It will stay with the knight there, and it will just go f4, and for f4 I can play g6, g6, and if it plays, if it keeps attacking my knight, I'm playing e7, knight e7. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm terribly miscalculate this, but let's see. Okay. That's just grounding this knight on d5. But what? So I need to do something. Now it's time to go back with that bishop. Now it's good time to go back with the bishop to d7. I think it's a good time to go back with the bishop. I'm so curious about analyzing this game. So curious. Okay, so bishop d7, and now some bad things might happen. It may play bishop f4, but I will have my knight mobilized, so that's okay. It can play bishop g5, but then I play f6 and I'm kind of okay. It can just play bishop d2 with, well, it can't really then play bishop a5, so that's still fine. Yeah, I think bishop d7 now. Okay, but I'm not too worried about this now. I will simply do castle, because if it takes my knight on e5, I can take with the knight, then it can theoretically pressurize me on c7, but I will just go c6 and I'm forking it. Can it do anything nasty with the knight? Like some sudden knight e7 with something, and it will be checking me. Not for now, because queen is on d8. I will need to do something with that knight. If it will not take the knight, yeah, I think I will castle now. Can't move. I can't move queen from d8. This is the only protection of c7. And I need to be careful. This queen will be not distracted by anything. So even exchange with the queen might be dangerous, but it's not very likely for now. So I think that's okay. But if I castle, it immediately starts some things like... No, not immediately. It can't go... It can't go... Queen G4, but it can go Queen H5. And then my knight is double attacked. But it didn't synchronize attack in any way, so I can still play F6. I can still play F6. And it can't yet do much with the queen. So I think that will stay. I think that will stay. Okay, let's... Is there anything better than castle now? What about provoking its bishop? Because if I will exchange bishops, bishop for knight, I can get rid of its knight. So let's calculate this. No, but then I'm losing protection for my knight. That's dangerous. So if it will take my knight, I need to retake with knight. I need to that's the whole thing. I will retake with knight, and then my c7 will hang. So at this point, I need to move rook to c8. My God, I'm just in deep defense. Because it will take knight on c6. That's fine. I will take with the knight. That's fine, but then it can take and it's even not enough to defend c7. But come on, it's 1200 and it's doing all of this. That's not fair. So I have this problem with c7, and I'm not sure I can defend it with rook. And then what? Exchange rook for two light pieces. I have no other option. Well, I need to play f6. I need to play f6. And then I can take with the pawn or with the bishop after it takes knight on c6. So I need to play f6 now. I need to play f6. I don't know if it's dangerous or not. But after f6, it will check me queen h5. I can still protect with g6, and then it can't take it with the knight because the queen still protects the pawn on f6. But it's, oh my God, how this position how bad this position is. I will analyze it so deeply if my thoughts are correct. Okay, so I think the only defense is f6 now, right? Because if I do nothing, if I do null move, takes the bishop, takes the knight on c6 with the bishop, I need to take with the knight because otherwise I'm losing the knight on e5. Or I can, yeah, no, yeah, and then if I takes with the knight, it simply takes f7 and fork for my king and my rook. So, and I can't escape with my knight because then it will anyway takes c7 with the knight. So the only option is f6 now. And now I have a choice. I finally have a choice. But I have a feeling it could have played something stronger. I will watch it closely during analysis. But I have a feeling it could have done this closer. It could have done this stronger. I think I will take with the knight. If it will exchange bishops, I will take with the queen. I'm not sure it can do anything dangerous. So let's take with the knight. I'm taking with the queen, and there's one thing I'm considering. Queen a4. It sounds silly, but after that it has this fork, so it's winning the rook and sacrificing queen. But no, it makes no sense. Other than that, it can't take on f6, so it can't fork me because there is still pawn on g7. It can give check, but that's not too dangerous. I can still protect myself with g6 and f6 and c7 are protected, so it will need to double attack it with something. But it will be able at some point with f4. So I need to chase that knight away, but it will be busy now with moving queen, but it can move queen to h6. So I need to be, but so then I will be not doing this castle. On the other hand, if I will take with the knight, and it will do check. I'm slightly better with protecting F6, and I'm not too worried about F4. But I'm open to some pin, but not immediately because it needs to move rook there. What it will do with the knight? Can't. If it will attack C on C file, I'm just moving pawn up C6, attacking the knight. It can't go B6, it can't go, yeah, so it needs to withdraw somewhere. It can go F4 or B4. Yeah, I think I will keep closer. And there is one more benefit. I'm protecting E5. Well, I'm kind of protecting it now because I'm physically blocking it, but yeah, I think I will take with the knight. I think I will take with the knight. Okay, as I thought. It's pretty persistent. But I think C6 is okay. Okay. Whew. That was hard. And I have a feeling I did it okay only because it blundered somewhere. Okay, let's think about castle. If I castle, it can't any longer check me there, but it still have this knight and queen, but they are not in synchronization, so queen can easily, no, queen can go to g4 and knight can go to h5. But I can deal with that simply by g6. So I'm strong enough. I think I will castle now. I think I will castle, and I will have some pressure on this e4 pawn perhaps. And I'm maybe not afraid to exchange queens. Okay, what it can do after castle? After castle, it can simply check me on b3. I will go h8 and okay. Okay, e6 is dangerous. Knight e6 is dangerous. Considering going back with knight to e5. If it will check me on queen h5, I will go g6. But my problem is now immediate problem now with okay, I don't want this. I will do long castle. I will do long castle, and I will go now and with long castle I will have rook immediately on d file, so I will be defending my knight, which might be attacked by something more, and by moving queen e7 I will not allow it on knight e6, which is a fork for the knight and for the queen. If I will do castle now, that's also dangerous, because if he plays queen g4, it then can do this trick. However, I can play g6, but I like queen e7 somehow. I think I'm okay with that. And for this, I will simply do queenside castle, and it needs to. That's not too bad. And after castle now, it needs to go somewhere with queen. Well, not necessarily, but wait. Can I take the pawn on e4? No, I can't. I will lose queen. So let's do castle. Okay, and this is kind of nice. This is nice, because I can now attack. What if I will place queen on e5 and attack the knight and the pawn on b2? The question is obviously, do I really want to take this pawn down, considering that it will be able to attack me with the rook? So maybe I want to keep that pawns, but I will then what if I do some strange attack with the knight now? Knight, because if knight goes c5, it's double attack on queen and also attack on the pawn. If it will, yeah, so queen needs to go somewhere. It might go well, the point is the queen will go h3. The queen will go h3. Check. Then it will go pawn f3, and it defends pawn on e4. So maybe prophylactically I will move king now to b8. Yeah. So king b8. What's the worst thing it can do? It can go queen a3 and starting attack here. What I will be doing with that? Nothing for now, because it needs second piece, but it might be soon rook. It might be soon rook. But I might go knight e5, preparing something on, or maybe queen e5 to chase the knight somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So this is the only. Now I'm moving my knight now or never. Because if it will play knight e6, I'm kind of doomed. So knight e5. It takes my rook, I takes with the rook, it takes with the rook, I take with the queen, I'm fine. Yeah, so it's now on or never. Not really, because even after that I can play. Yeah, but I prefer to somehow. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm thinking about chasing knight on g5. Because it can go only to e2. But then I will need to stay with the rook on h6, on h5 forever. Can I have something? It would be really good to have something aggressive. But I think I will need to play this h6 now, because otherwise my rook will be immobilized. But the problem is knight e6. It plays too good. It plays too good. What can I do? I need to play g5, because if I will not play g5, I don't know what I can do. Because after g5, if it will go knight e6, I play g4. If it takes the rook, I take the rook. I take it with the rook. I take the queen. So that's not an option. It can go to b3. It can go to b3. But then I exchange the rook with check, and I can always exchange rook with check, so that's not too bad. So knight e6. Knight e6. That's my worry now. That's my worry now. Knight e6. If I play h6, and it will play knight e6, I will take rook with check. It will retake. I will play rook e8, pressuring the knight. Then I'm still defending hg7 with the queen. So in fact the knight will be lost then. That's interesting. No, it will be not lost, because it can play d4. And then I will pressure it with the rook. Okay, let's play it. So h6. Okay, something out of this context. If it will go, that's the problem. No, that's not the problem, because that's especially why I'm doing this h6. If it will take the rook, I can safely take the rook, because now my h pawn is safe. So yeah, okay. This is move which is giving me a bit. It's giving me. It's letting me breathe. It's letting me breathe. kind of thinking about exchanging the rooks, because it's really not funny to have this rook battery. And especially that I'm kind of winning the file, because I exchange with check, it needs to take, and then I again pressurize the rook. If it takes, I take with the queen, and with my queen on d8, I'm still threatening mate, so it needs to do something about mate threat. And that's kind of giving me one more move, which I don't know yet what I will do, but I can go maybe with knight to d3 then, and I don't know. It depends what it will do. Yeah, I think I will exchange. Okay, that's okay. He's protecting. He's protecting against mate, but it's a weak protection, but I can't do anything about it. Also, now it can and that, by the way, that mate threat was protecting me from the fork knight, but that wasn't too dangerous, that fork. Okay. What can I do? What can I do now? I can't do anything stupid like queen d2 now, because that would be like that would potentially allow me to win the knight, because it's a mate threat on e1, but it can check on g8. Now I go king c7, and it can check on knight e6, and that's where things get scary, because I need to go with my king to b6 perhaps. It can still check me there. I don't know. That's not too nice. And I can't do anything else, because this king c7 is forced. But if I will now go c7, king c7, I'm threatening this queen d2 anyway, so it needs either move pawn or knight. What about exchanging queens and hoping it will be simply worse in the ending? The only problem with that is that it's not too fortunate pawn structure after that, but if it will go to that exchange, b6, okay, I will have then I'm taking with the pawn. Now how can it attack me? It can go knight e6, and I need to go g5 or g6, maybe g6. Then it will, if it will attack on f8, I will go g5. No, because then it can go h7. But then I can maybe somehow do something with my I need to concentrate on winning this pawn on e4. Can I win this pawn? And exchanging queen like that will not work because it will take the pawn, the g7 pawn with check. What about knight g4? Knight g4. Or maybe let's pressurize the queen now. Knight d7. And I can do fork. I can, so it's like, it's threatening the fork. And it can work because if it will retake on e4, I'm giving mate. So, but it can move f3. So then I can go c5. Go c5. I don't know, to be honest. But it needs to make some mistake. That's the point. It needs to make mistake. What about pushing the pawn here and... Well, to be honest, I can now move my knight in some interesting place and it can't take it with the queen. So for example, I can move my knight here. I can move my knight here, maybe I want to, because then I will be also threatening b pawn. So it will defend b pawn by moving those pawns somehow, or maybe moving the knight. Can't really move the knight in that way. Well, it can move the knight on d3. It will also protect it. And then what can I do with the knight? I can take the pawn. No, I can't take the pawn. I can't take the pawn. But I can go. But I can go knight d2, forking queen and this pawn, and it can go. It can go queen e3 or something. Or it can even give check. On on g3, and then I need to go with, well, going with the king, and it will win, and it will win the pawn on g7. Oh my god, it will win the pawn on g7. But not really, because the knight, I can take the knight with my queen, and probably I can move my king to c. No, I need to move it to a8. But then it can't take the pawn. Yeah, that's complicated. Okay, let's just see what it will do. Maybe it will just take the knight. Oh, of course. And I'm stupid because it's not. I lost. I calculated so much, but I haven't noticed that it can simply move the queen to f1. Okay, let's try to distract it. Maybe it will make mistake. Okay. No, that will not work. That will not work. No, I'm losing anyway, so I'm just playing crazy. Just playing crazy. Okay, stupid check. And mate. I just lost it anyway. Okay, that was humiliating. That was really humiliating. That was humiliating. So let's see now. Let's see now this part of the game. But I have a feeling it. I mean, did it make any mistake? Okay, and that's the problem. That was... It was so many options here. A6 was fine. A6 was fine. I just need to see this. So what I was worried here... I was worried about this. But that was actually not dangerous at all. Because then I can go back with the bishop. That was silly. That was silly to be worried about this. But let's go further, because that will be truly... So okay, now I was really worried, and it doesn't look like there is anything to worry about, because castle can be done. And I was afraid of what? Well, I was afraid of losing the pawn, right? Because if it... So what's the problem here? If I do castle and it will take the knight, how it's good for me? It simply doesn't care about the pawn. But that looks so bad. That looks so bad. Because now it can take... In theory, it looks like it could take the pawn. Why it can't take this pawn? Because I had to check after that. Ah, so that's a dip. Oh no. No. No, no, no. So what is the... Queen G5, so that's some deep calculation here. G1, it's just retaking the pawn, but it's more to that. It's more to that. But yeah, that was playable. That was playable. So so I shouldn't be worried about this. I could do castle now. I could do castle. But what I was just so stressed that I played that knight here, and that's still okay, and that's still okay. It's not great, but it's still okay. And then it took the pawn, so I took, and that's fine. That's relatively fine. And then it blundered, and I haven't noticed this, right? Yeah. Why I haven't taken the pawn? I was so scared with that bishop that I haven't taken the pawn. That was just one of the most silly things I could do. So that was my problem, and then it obviously started doing nasty things to me. Here I could, yeah, I thought my game is not as bad here. That castle actually is also, yeah, so, but it blundered that pawn and I haven't noticed it. That's all fine. That wasn't necessary. But now it's also close to computer choice. Now it can play knight e6. Yeah, that's something I was worried about, but I had planned for that, and it's also equal position. Exchange was good. I was still good here. And that was terrible mistake. That was terrible mistake. I was good here, and I just did this terrible mistake. Because I was so happy I can just move the knight because it can't take me because it needs to protect this d1 that I haven't noticed. That after that it can go queen f1 and avoid mate. So yeah, okay. At least it's a lot of things are clear, but I simply, so yeah, that blunder was decisive for me. Nothing else, in fact, was really big blunder on my side, except I was worrying too much about non-existing threats. And well, and here was my big miss opportunity. I could simply took this pawn, and I don't know why I haven't noticed it. But accept. The moves were quite good. However, I need to remember it. I need to remember that game because it's important. I was just worrying about things which I should. Yeah, I remember I was worried about this A6, but it wasn't really a threat. Okay, that's fine. I lost the fourth game. So I lost 3 games. I won 1 game in that match. So I just lost the match. I just lost the match. That's fine. That's fine. That's just a record of my level, and I'm keep practicing. I'm just keep practicing. Thank you very much. It was not really watchable, but as I said, I'm doing this mainly for my benefit. So take care, play chess, and see you next time.